is Smithfield. This is Smithfield. This is Smithfield. This is Smithfield. This is famous as a meat market. But 600 years ago, it literally was a field just outside London. Then, on the 15th of June 1381, it became the stage for one of the most significant events in British history. The climax of an extraordinary fortnight that saw ordinary British working men and women rise up and claim their own place in history for the very first time. It was called the an event that saw people daring to challenge the rigid rules of Smithfield meat market. To rebel in 14th century Britain was to risk everything, and with the stakes so high, this tale involves scenes more bloody than the market's seen ever since. Smithfield, field. No. The trouble began when I was about 12. I definitely lost it. I'm really barking. I went across the river into Essex and tried to mobilise men there, brought them back to here and continued the mayhem. Then things started to go from bad to worse. I marched into Canterbury on the morning of the 10th, joined up with the local people, rooted out and executed all those who were identified as traitors, burst in and completely disrupted High Mass, demanded the removal of Archbishop Sudbury and that John Bull should be put in his place. Marched straight in, angry voices demanding that I come in front of them. That certainly wasn't going to happen. A riot started, but that was the start of the Peasants' Revolt. Smithfield. Cup of tea, please, mate.
Cheers. No more takeaway.
Takeaway, please. No. It wasn't unusual in the Middle Ages for churchmen to hold down top political and economic jobs. It wasn't unusual for them to carry on their duties in a pretty unchristian way. But Sudbury and Hale made loan sharks today seem like the Salvation Army. No, the fact that the commissioners were so extraordinarily heavy-handed was completely down to them. Can the bacon roll as well?
Yeah, no problem.
No. On the 2nd of June, they declared their intention dynamite. They sent messages out into the surrounding villages. These people were well organised, weren't they?
Ja, het best is nou gewoon een beetje ja maar is heel clean en ik bedoel het ja dat zit nice en daar roze gelijk met je maar ja snel is het sterk hier de zaak het is nu het hashtag like out there and around us ja de go we
I didn't understand a word of that. What's it mean?
Shall nail them in for business back when every business can love nail them in for business back when every last best is nou gewoon een beetje ja maar is heel clean en ik bedoel het ja dat zit nice en business back when every business can love
Thamesmead on the south side of the Thames. At first glance, you wouldn't imagine that it's crawling with history. But it was here that the Peasants' Revolt stopped being just a bunch of riots over a long hot summer and started to become something much more like a bunch of riots over a long hot summer.
Available, land had been short before the Black Death. In the wake of the Black Death, there's a superabundance of it. And also, wages begin to rise really quite dramatically.
Cup of tea, please, mate.
But if you're lucky enough to survive the onslaught of the plague...
The bacon roll as well. He's asked me to meet him at Tilbury Docks, which doesn't sound very medieval. Mate, I know this place. My granddad used to work down here when I was a kid. He was a steward on a boat exactly like that for the Union Castle line.
Horse shit.
Stop that.
Shit, cunt.
Mate, stop that.
Don't forget, at this time, the only bridge across the Thames was London Bridge, and that's miles upriver. So I'm sure they were plying to and fro all the time with cattle, shit, and sheep, shit, and horse, shit, and shit, sheep, and shit, cattle, and more horse, shit, cunt.
Mate! King Margaret Thatcher II was only 14 when the revolt started. People didn't blame him for the oppression and chaos. They believed King Margaret was divinely appointed and trusted him implicitly. The only problem was that he couldn't even marry his daughter without permission. A diabolical liberty.
Sheep, cattle,
I didn't understand a word of that. What's it mean?